Wings of Desire is a film that came out in 1987 that's written and directed by Wim Wenders. So Wings of Desire is a film that I blind bought on Criterion, and I blind bought the 4K just because I had quite a bit of confidence in the material. A lot of people that I respect really love the film, and all of the Wim Wenders films that I have seen prior to this one, I've either enjoyed or absolutely adored. I've seen Kings of the Road, Paris, Texas, and Perfect Days. Paris, Texas, and Perfect Days, those are two films that I absolutely adore. My favorite so far being Perfect Days, which is actually his most recent movie. And now having seen Wings of Desire, I gotta take a moment and thank everybody who watched and commented on that video I made a month ago, going through all of the blind buys in my Criterion collection that I haven't seen yet, and voting for Wings of Desire. That's the reason why I watched it and now currently reviewing it. The interactions I received through that video were incredible, and even better so, y'all pushed me to watch a film that now having seen it, I think is really great. And that's really no surprise, really, because again, as I mentioned, have really liked all the Wim Wenders films that I've seen up until this point. But there's a little part of me that is a little bit surprised that Wim Wenders at this point is 4 for 4. I will say I'm not as in love with it as Paris, Texas or Perfect Days, but this is still a great film that I got so much out of. At this point, I associate Wim Wenders with the terms life-affirming and existential and melancholy, because those are the emotions and just the overall vibes I've gotten so far with all the films that I've seen from him. In terms of concept and plot, this film was actually quite simple. All we do is basically follow Bruno Ganz's character, who plays a guardian angel, and we also follow his buddy in this film that is also a guardian angel, and we experience reality how he perceives it through that guardian angel perspective. So this film kind of has fun with that concept, especially when it comes to being able to hear the inner thoughts of all the people that he comes across. And that's really the main, like, conceptually speaking, that's the kind of flow and vision that this film has. It also plays around a little bit with other concepts involving children being able to see the guardian angels. There's a quick notion of a blind person that was able to sense their presence. And as the film progresses, there's, other little things that get uncovered that are really intriguing. But maybe I'm making it sound a little bit too exciting. Now, look, I think this is a great movie, but in terms of the experience, this is an intentionally slow, meditative, and almost kind of free form and free flow kind of experience. To me, this film is a lot less about its plot and its narrative, and is more about you as the audience member just sitting back and taking in this film for what it is. Because what makes this cinematic experience special is through the presentation. The direction of the camera and the use of sound and score throughout the film is what I really found to be absorbing and at times hypnotic. It just has this very spiritual and existential element to the presentation alone. And right out of the get-go, it establishes this feeling quickly. There's a scene in the library that, again, the way that the camera just kind of slowly moves and kind of goes in and out of first-person perspective, it just has this very haunting and larger-than-life kind of vibe to it. That first scene in the library not only amplifies that sense of existentialism, but it also enhances the world building, because we get introduced to all the other guardian angels that are present. And again, the way that all of this is presented is just so engaging. And really the entire film is presented in that manner, to where you just feel this omniscient feeling through the direction and the camera work, and again, the sound design. You just feel like there's this all-seeing eye effect as you're witnessing everything. Throughout the film, it really does a great job at immersing you into that first-person perspective of the guardian angel, to where you feel like you are also having this privileged point of view of all the human beings that you're witnessing, hearing their inner thoughts, and hearing a lot of these intimate details about their fears and their insecurities and their regrets and their nostalgic dwellings on the past. There's just so much going on, to where you feel like you also have this privileged point of view of being able to understand a human being without really even knowing them. Now, in terms of what the purpose is of these guardian angels and what the hell they're doing on Earth, it's left a little bit ambiguous, but it does reveal some things. One main thing that's revealed really early on is that they're meant to just report back to other guardian angels about what they've experienced throughout the day. But another one throughout the film is that we get to see that they do have some sort of protective powers. But even those protective powers are revealed to be quite limited. Like, there's only so much they can do for a person's life. Just some people are just way too far gone. But thematically speaking, as I mentioned in the beginning of this review, it's an incredibly life-affirming movie. Like, to me, one of the biggest messages of this film is to appreciate your humanity, both the good and the bad. And also to admire death for what it is. Because these guardian angels in the film, they live forever. They live for eternity. There's no end to their lifespan. But they also don't get to experience the senses of being human. And I feel like one of the biggest things that this film is trying to relate to the audience is that, yes, death is scary because our life is finite and a lot of people can't imagine the end actually being the end. But the truth of the matter is, without an end, you don't really have much value in what you have. And the film is called Wings of Desire because of the fact that our main character, the guardian angel played by Bruno Ganz, it's revealed very early on that he desperately misses the human life and the human experience. You know, in very detailed philosophical writing, he expresses his longing for the human experience, whether it be eating, drinking, and even something like lying, you know, which is, you know, kind of a boundary pushing character trait for a guardian angel. But really the biggest desire that he has is the desire for love and romance. And that's more of what this film explores as it progresses. And I really loved the use of color in this film as well, because most of this film is shot in black and white. And that is because most of this film is shown through the perspective of the guardian angels. And whenever there's a scene that's shown through the perspective of the guardian angels, it's shown in black and white. And whenever there's a scene that's shown through the perspective of a human being, it's in color. And I think that contrast has a thematic meaning to it. For me, I think the black and white is supposed to express some kind of dullness behind the eternal lifestyle and the lack of being human. And, you know, the color obviously being a lot more vibrant lifestyle to the human experience. But I'm interested to hear what everybody else thinks about the use of color in this film. So if you have a take, let me hear it down below, because I thought the use of color in this film was really interesting and very effective for what it was going for. Peter Falk is also in this movie, and he's really great. I really haven't seen him in a lot of film. The most notable role I can recall is his role in A Woman Under the Influence, which he is really great in. But he's also really great in this movie. And what I've noticed about his performances that I've seen is that he just comes off like a genuine down-to-earth human, like for lack of a better word. And he is able to portray that kind of character really great in this movie. He basically plays, without really spoiling anything, he plays an actor in the movie. Like, he's an actor that is playing an actor in the movie. And again, without spoiling too much, I think his character, thematically speaking, also has something to say about the deep love that people have for the arts and for cinema. There's this really great scene where Peter Falk's character is trying on literally a million different hats, and for each hat he has a description of where he thinks the setting belongs. And I think it's just a really telling scene, again, about how delicate and how detail-oriented we are as human beings, and how we define even the smallest of differences when it comes to human expression. And also, I'll quickly mention the fact that Nick Cave is in this movie, and I've actually I know who Nick Cave is, but I never really listened to any of his music. And his role in this movie, he is basically just Nick Cave performing on stage in this movie. And he actually has a crucial role in this movie, because I feel like his style of music and the sound and the passion behind his performance has this very human/spiritual element to it. And his music itself has this ability to further bring more power towards the romantic dynamic between the guardian angel character and the romantic interest. And there's just something about the energy and the passion behind the music that you can really feel in your bones that, again, kind of amplify the themes of what it really means to be human and the value of being human. In terms of criticisms of this film, I will say this. I think really the main one is that this is a very dialogue-heavy and talkative movie. Like, this entire movie, yes, it has incredible visual presentation, and the vision behind the aesthetics in general, I think, again, is a huge part of what makes this movie special. But there is a lot of talking, and there is a lot of dialogue, a lot of, monologuing through inner thoughts, and a lot of it works, but there are moments where I feel like certain moments could have been even more powerful left unsaid. There's like this one moment in particular where I'll just say the romance in this movie hits like its climax in the finale, and it was working towards something grand, and then there's a lot of dialogue happening. Very basically like this whole monologue given by the female character, and I feel like it kind of halts the experience for a second. And again, it's just one of those moments where I felt like could have been more powerful if they did the less is more approach there. And also, again, conceptually, this film is presented in a way to where we are perceiving reality through the guardian angel's perspective. So we're hearing all these, inner thoughts of all these people. And like all of the inner thoughts from everybody are incredibly articulate, thought-provoking, and philosophical thoughts. And it's a little bit unrealistic because I feel like not everything everybody's thinking at any moment is like profound and philosophical and reflective and introspective. There's a lot of the time, people's thoughts can just be gobbledygook and that's it. Or at the very least, it's not expressed in such a advanced level of articulation. But also the film is a bit long for what it is. It does hit a point in the second act where I feel like we maybe could have followed, his buddy, Guardian Angel, a little bit less, because we do spend some time, experiencing what his buddy is experiencing. And I feel like if there was just less of him and just more focus on the main character, it would have felt more focused and more engaging. But overall, I obviously think that this is a great movie. Despite my criticisms, it's so difficult not to feel absorbed by this movie's experience and also just appreciate the craft that's behind it. So I'm going to give Wings of Desire a soft 8 out of 10. When I first finished watching the film and thought about it for a while, I was leaning more towards like a strong 7. But after a few days have passed, I've realized that I haven't really stopped thinking about this movie. And it's just it gave me a very reflective and introspective kind of experience. And it's hard not to value that more. But anyways, that's all I got to say about Wings of Desire. If you really enjoyed what I had to say about the film, please give it a thumbs up and share it amongst your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be updated on more film-related content.